Good morning, everyone. I'm Martin Wenzel. Welcome back to American Truck Simulator. It's been a little bit of time since the last installment. I believe that was episode 54, so we're on episode 55. It is Tuesday, week 31 of this profile, and as you'll see, I'll be calling this date April 16th, 2019, so I'm going to be keeping a driving log, just like real truckers have to keep. Or they used to have to keep. Now they don't have to do these paper logs. They actually have the electronic logs, but I'm kind of doing a paper log. Keep track of the hours, try to make it a little bit more immersive. Finished my sleeper time. Every truck driver has to have at least 10 hours of sleeper time before they can start a new 14-hour clock. And that sleeper time ended at 3 a.m. and now we're doing a half-hour pre-trip. I think that's what I have on there. Actually, I might have a 15-minute pre-trip, so we might actually be behind schedule now. I think I should probably just get going right now. Just got the engine going. Still driving the Kenworth. I forget what it's called. Should be right there. The T586 or whatever that is. See it later when the sun's up. But I got the National Freightways livery paint job on here. See it with the trailer as well. And I'm in Clayton, New Mexico. Coming from Lawton, Oklahoma. And I'm gonna be taking this load. See what it is. It's a load of household appliances to Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station right outside of Colorado Springs. Kind of an interesting load, kind of interesting that there's anything there, because in real life there actually isn't any delivery points. Shouldn't really be any delivery points there. I suppose you could deliver. I suppose they do get deliveries up there of some sort. But I'm sure the military takes care of it itself. Well, I think we're delivering to a FedEx that is there. So let's get out of Clayton, New Mexico. So on the log, and I think I'll try to put the logs up periodically during this video. On the log I would show that I ended my sleeper time at 3 a.m. and then did a pre-trip inspection. So every truck driver has to do a pre-trip inspection of their truck and trailer. Now, I'm sure some drivers, I think they do this, some drivers, they'll just log in that they did a 15 or 30 minutes at the beginning of their day as a pre-trip inspection while just sitting there warming up, waking up in the truck. Not actually get out and do that inspection. But it usually is a good idea to always do that pre-trip inspection, check your engine, all the parts, make sure things are up to snuff and you're not going to have a problem later on down the road. Or if you get pulled over in a weigh station or by a State Patrol DOT officer, you don't have something that shouldn't be going on your truck. And I've been following a thread on Truckers Report in the forums there from a guy that worked for Millis Transport. He now is independent, but one of the big things he reminds everyone to do is check your pins, check that kingpin lock on the fifth wheel for the truck to keep the trailer where the trailer attaches. Check that every day during your pre-trip inspection, because some people have not the bad habit, I would say the bad action of going and pulling that pin out on you, and you start pulling away in your tractor, the front end, and there goes the trailer, plop right onto the ground. Probably going to damage that trailer. Definitely going to have a hard time reattaching the trailer, since the trailer is now down into the ground. It doesn't have the legs extended. So that's all stuff done during that pre-trip inspection, and usually a DOT officer is going to want to see about a 15-minute to half-hour At least on those paper logs. Nowadays, I think you can still set it when you're going actually on drive duty. With the electronic logs, I think it automatically just registers when you're going to start to drive. So when you go on duty, you're going to want to leave about a 15-minute gap there for that pre-trip inspection before starting to drive. Now you may be wondering why I'm getting all into this and talking about all that stuff. Well, some recent developments over here in China. We've decided to close down our school, our English school. Again, our English school is just a small thing. It's just my wife and I. You know, we rent a classroom at a local school. But we're not entirely legal. It's very hard to be legal. Very costly. Gotta grease the right, hands. And China, that gets very expensive. And so while we're not entirely legal, we kind of, with recent developments in China, they're starting to crack down on that more. And everything going on, they're introducing the social credit scores and starting to spy on the citizens far more than usual. Decided it's time to move back to America. So, closing the school down as soon as possible. By the end of this month, we should be... most of our classes should be finished up. We'll teach a few classes still in our house for a couple months before we actually move back to America at the end of June. Then probably take a couple weeks, maybe do a little bit of vacation, maybe a road trip. Go to Summerfest in Milwaukee, where I live, or my hometown, back in America. And then I'll be, hopefully, going to Millis Transport, which is based out of Wisconsin, Black River Falls, Wisconsin. Going to Millis Transport, going to their training school to learn to be a real-life truck driver and drive one of these T680. I believe it's T680. Whoa. Okay, didn't see a sign saying that we had to. That the lane was cutting down there. My bad. I'd actually be learning to drive one of these trucks that I'm driving right here in the game. The only difference is that Millis Transport only uses, or is basically turning over to just automatics. So while I do actually shift in the simulation, I won't actually be able to drive a manual if I get training from Millis. But I figure if I ever want to go the manual route, I can always go and test for that at a later point. Learn how to do it and then test for a later point. But that's the plan. Probably late July, early August, go to Millis Training Institute. Picking Millis because I've heard really good things about Millis. They've got really good pay for new drivers. And they're based, or their training school, one of their training schools, they have 5 locations. One of them is in Richfield, Wisconsin, just up the road from where I live, where my parents live. We're going to be staying with my parents starting out when we come back, getting settled back into America. So I'll be right close to home starting out, and company right there in the Milwaukee area. And we'll be driving one of these trucks that I'm driving right now, except it'll be automatic. So that'll be an adventure. And once I get settled in on that and get the right equipment, I'll definitely be trying to make some videos chronicling the driving and showing you the great scenes. Obviously not the scenes of the West, because Millis does not drive too far west of Texas. I think Texas is the furthest west they really go. They're actually getting a training center or a terminal or something out in Colorado, so maybe there'll be a few more routes out to Colorado, and that'll be nice. But most of their coverage area is the east of the Mississippi. So I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of watching videos, trying to learn the ins and outs of what I can learn right now. Just so I'm not going in completely blind. Figuring out how the clock works and everything. So we got about 3 hours to go here until we get to our destination. It's 5:30. You can see the sun's starting to peak up. Little housekeeping with American Truck Simulator itself. I've updated all of Jazzy Cat's mods today, just before starting this video. Have the latest coast to coast. I think I have the latest coast to coast. Latest Canada Dream. Got rid of the Mexico because I really don't want to drive down there again too much. But if I ever get that itch, I'll just get it, update that one. I have a few other map mods. All of this will be in the description below. Download links. Also, I'm running a few visual modifications. I think it's a Filmic lighting with bloom. And then in addition to that, using reshade outside of this program, or in conjunction with American Truck Simulator, reshade, and using a preset that I'll link to in the description below. And it makes it, you know, once we get into into the daylight, you'll really be able to tell it looks really realistic, or just really changes the game. Stumbling over my words, but changes the look of the game, makes it look really realistic. The lighting and the washing out of whites and everything. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. And of course, with any of Coast to Coast, a lot of it is just this empty kind of area. Not too much scenery to see, always. But as we continue to go along through time, Coast to Coast has been getting more and more content. I noticed they have a lot more South Carolina done. Obviously Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, lots of roads. And a little bit more content, a few more buildings here and there actually placed in cities. So they're getting better. Went through a really cool interchange, I think in Amarillo, the interchange was really good, or Lubbock. It was a really nice interchange. Not just not so cookie cutter anymore. There's a lot of cool stuff coming. Got Washington coming over the horizon, DLC, straight from SCS, so they're doing good work there. Looking forward to that. A beautiful sunrise. So I'll give you a little bit more background on the clock for a truck driver, as I understand it at this point. So truckers have a 14-hour clock that they can be on duty, maximum every day. 14 hours. And that 14-hour clock starts when you go on duty. The first time you go on duty after a 10-hour sleeper berth portion of the day. And that 10-hour sleeper berth is done right behind my right shoulder. Little bed, little bunk there. Maybe you'll have a TV, maybe you'll have a microwave, refrigerator, all that stuff back there. I don't think you actually have to be physically in the sleeper berth that whole 10 hours, but it counts as sleeper berth time that you are supposed to be resting or not driving and not doing anything in conjunction with your truck. So that's why a pre-trip inspection would count as on-duty time. So you have a 10-hour sleeper berth and then a 14-hour duty clock. That adds up to 24 hours a day. Now during that 14 hours, you can drive a maximum of 11 hours. You can also go off duty during that 14 hours to save. Overall, you have a 70-hour clock over 8 days. I believe it is, an 8-day, 70-hour clock. So you can only be on duty for 70 hours over 8 days. But that's a running clock, so it rolls over. So once you get to the next day, that 8th day drops off and you keep... Yeah, I'll show you as we go, and you'll see it on the logs themselves, the paper logs themselves. So right now we're on duty. We've been on duty for 4 hours. and we've been driving for 3.5 hours. So we could still drive another 7.5 hours, and we could still be on duty for another 10 hours. Now, I'm going to try not to go the whole 10 hours because I kind of want to preserve that 70-hour clock, and I am holding myself to that 70-hour clock. I actually did, and this is another thing that happens, is that when you run out of that 70 hours, or you get close to running out of 70 hours, you can do a 34-hour reset, where you sit, maybe you go home, maybe you're sitting at a truck stop, but you are not working for 34 hours. You're taking basically a weekend, or a day and a half off, 20 or 34 hours. There we go, we got some mountains here as we come into Colorado. Now, they don't have Pueblo here. We would have driven through Pueblo at some point. Really mixing up my things, but we're coming into Colorado Springs. And over there, that's going to be Pikes Peak, I would believe. So I'm kind of rambling on about the clock. You can do a 34-hour reset, and that resets your 70-hour clock. Automatically, you now have 0 hours. You've worked 0 hours, and you can start all over fresh. And that's what I did a couple days ago, so if you see on my log, I worked 11 hours, 15 minutes yesterday, and then I think 9 hours and 15 minutes the day before. Yeah, Pikes Peak, next right, exit 141, US 24, Cimarron Street. I wonder if it actually is called Cimarron Street. But here you can see it's pretty good. It's a pretty nicely done area. Lots of trees. We're going to be taking a left. I think we're going to be going up an extended winding mountain road, which, if you look at the satellite image of the Air Force Station, actually doesn't exist. It's not that winding. So we'll see how much of it is. When I looked at the in-game map, looks a little harrowing and not actually true to life. Alright, so while we sit here at this red light, finish up on the clock. So you have obviously you have a 24-hour clock for the day. 10-hour sleeper, 14-hour on duty. That clock starts, that 14-hour on duty clock goes until you go into the sleeper berth again. You can never stop that 14-hour clock. But you can stop eating away at your 70-hour clock by going off duty for lunch, at a rest area. You have to have a half-hour break. We've done this half-hour DOT mandated break on this playthrough before, but we're going to make sure we do it a little bit better. You have to do it before you've been on duty for 8 hours, I believe. I believe it's 8 hours before you've been on 8 hours on duty, though it might be 8 hours driving. I'm not sure. I might be wrong about it being on. I'm not sure which one it was, on duty or driving, but before 8 hours into your shift. So you're generally going to want to do that before you get close to an 8 hour on either of those. Just be careful. You have to stop somewhere and take a half-hour break. That half-hour break, they want you to take a nap or something, and some guys do. Some guys go and take a shower at the Loves or the TA or whatever truck stop they're at. Some guys, you know, just read a book or watch TV for a half hour. Catch up on their logs when you had written logs. Paperwork, whatever it is. You can't be driving for half an hour, and you're technically off duty. But that does not stop your duty clock, that 14-hour clock. It just stops eating away at your 70-hour duty clock. So I'm sure I bored you and confused you with that clock. But really, I think it works out that if you drive about 8 hours a day, or if you work, you're on duty 8 hours a day, you never really have to reset with a 34-hour reset. And obviously with a 34-hour reset, it means you're not making money because you're not driving. Okay, I kind of pinched that coach bus there, but he decided to turn. And then I'm trying to left turn and get into each other. We're on Colorado State Route 115. There's actually we could have gotten an exit earlier in real life. Cut across on Academy Boulevard, I think is what it's called. But that road is not here in the game. Discovered another Kenworth truck dealer. And we're going to discover a Peterbilt as well. There's a couple of truck dealers right here. So when we get to our destination to drop off, what I will do is on the log, I will switch from the drive line. Right now we're on the drive line. I will switch to the on-duty line. Now, in real life, some guys, you know, especially with logs, but I think even with e-logs, you can still do this. You can go off duty while you're getting loaded. While you're waiting to get loaded, while you're getting loaded. I think, according to the DOT, you're supposed to technically be on duty that whole time. The thing is, a lot of drivers will go off duty. They will log that they're on duty for a half hour. You know, because if you show up to a shipper and you log that you just went off duty and you had no just on-duty time being loaded, DOT officers are going to go, hey, what the heck? You need to show some on-duty time. But a lot of guys will kind of cheat that and say, okay, I was on duty for half an hour and they loaded me in half an hour. While most places, depending on what you're in, you know, if you're in refrigerated shipping, you know, that half-hour loading, unload, load is a very rare thing. But for the purposes of American Truck Simulator, since the loading time is just an hour, I'll just log in there, go on duty, loading wherever we are. We're gonna say here we're gonna be Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station, and I'll put FedEx too. I'll put where I'm at. And then unload, that'll be an hour on duty, but not driving. And then if we have to move to go and pick up something at some other place, we'll go back on our drive line and drive. And again, every day you can only drive and be on duty for a maximum of 14 hours, driving 11 hours. But I want to try not to do that too often because you will eat into that 70-hour and eventually run out of hours and have to do a reset where you're doing no driving and making no money. Alright, this is... yeah, here we go. We're getting into a restricted area. U.S. Air Force, Cheyenne Mountain Complex. Restricted access, authorized personnel only, authorized delivery vehicles only, all vehicles subject to search. Well, I'm going to assume we are authorized. What I kind of want to do is I kind of want to get a screenshot of this right here. So let's take a little pause. We got all these security guys looking like Hitman. And I'll be back with you in just a second. Alright, let's go in here. Let's see what these guys say. Probably not going to do anything because obviously not built into the game. Okay, stop. They're going to search me. Yeah, I'm here to deliver. Alright. Guess everything checks out. They're going to let me go. Got a nice little rest area here. And now we start the climb to the Air Force Base. So let's see if I can zoom out on this map here. And I can't zoom it, but like right when you get near the Air Force Base, the road just squigglies a lot. It kind of just goes into a tight curly Q. Which again, I don't think is true to life. I don't know. But this is a really interesting area. And I'm pretty glad that it just so happened that I had some free time here to make this video. And it happened to be on this trip because we're getting to see some coast to coast. And we're getting to see a part of coast to coast that is decently developed, an interesting part of it, not just going across the plains of Texas. Proceed only when instructed, no cell phone uses, no pictures, stay in your truck. Okay, no pictures, guys. We took our picture at the entrance. They didn't seem to have too much problem with that. But we can't take any pictures in here, except for this video. Now part of me is thinking that what I should do in the video edit, obviously if you're hearing me say this, we're not doing this, but I should just, all this should just be restricted behind a, you know, top secret logo or something. I can hear a helicopter overhead. Getting a little eerie as we drive through here. What would make this delivery even cooler is if we were delivering something like a tank or a jet or something. Okay, we got some nice glitchy graphics up here. Looks like an old ferry sign or something. Ah, okay, I see. So because we're going into the mountain, it looks like, we're going to be doing like a weird winding tunnel path. That's cool. I was wondering what that is. Because if you look on the satellite image, you don't see all this, but in regards to some little parking ticket things. Well, that guy's got a beard over there, so we got a little different model. And this helicopter's getting close. I check out again, alright. Now we're getting really close to this, to needing our half-hour break. I hope we don't have to go 15 the whole way here. Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station discovered. Hopefully we can go a little bit faster than 15. Ah, we're gonna be going down into the mountain. Okay, so coming out's gonna be a chore. Yeah, we've been on duty since 3 a.m. so we're at 6:15. So we're gonna need to, probably once we get in here, we'll just take a, we'll do our half-hour break in here. Alright, light at the end of the tunnel. That was a long journey. I think that was an hour game time. A couple minutes for us. And I think I sped that up. Now, where are we supposed to go here? Okay, we got a little gas pump here, which, you know what, I'm gonna pull in here and snag a little bit of gas because I don't know if we'll get back out of here otherwise. What is that? Uh-huh. Is that like a portal to another dimension? Got some weird stuff going on down here, guys. I really want to sneak a picture. I really, really do. Alright, let's get this thing delivered. I need to zoom in on this map. It looks like we just go around the corner here and we'll be at FedEx. Alright. Pretty tight in here. And now for the best part that I always struggle at, and that is parking. Backing, at least. Let's see if we can get this set up decently. Alright, let's unload this trailer. Alright, we got an excellent household appliances delivered from Lawton to Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station, 520 miles. Took us a little bit over a day. And we made 2,200 cold hard dollars. Let's see what we can get out of here, because that's definitely what we're going to want to do, unless we just want to drive back out and get some from Colorado Springs. Let's see, we could take some fireworks to Sierra Vista, Arizona. Let's see, what do I want to take? What do I want to take? Let's go with this one. Let's stay out here in coast to coast, see what we got out here. So we're going to take tableware to Walmart in Pratt, Kansas. Alright, we're loaded and ready to go. We're going to be heading to Pratt, Kansas, like I said, with that tableware to Walmart. Let's get this one started. Took our half-hour break. Loading, they got us finished loading at 11:30, so we just decided, hey, we'll sit here. They said, yeah, it's okay. And here we go. Let's try not to hit the back of this trailer. It's gonna be tight. Alright, we got out. Yeah, look at that. Look at that portal to some strange other dimension. Well, coast to coast, whoever designed this one, good job. That's fun. That's cool. All right, well, say goodbye to NORAD and Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station, at least for now. And I'm gonna leave you with, we'll just kind of speed this up as we get out of here. Alright, we're finally getting to the exit. So that took half an hour to get up this whole thing. I would never want to do that in real life. Whew. Half an hour of having to hang on to the truck from going backwards. Not sure why it's raining inside. Not sure why it's raining at all. I don't see any clouds. I don't think there are. Maybe there are. Alright, see you guys. Take care. Alright. So we're going to try to see where we can get to. with our 14-hour clock, we can drive pretty close to 5 o'clock. We might run out of driving hours before then. So probably I want to try to find a truck stop. Nice place to stop for the night. Probably around 3 at the latest. As we finally get out of the Air Force base, the Air Force station, and back into free Colorado territory. So I think it looks like we're going to be going over on 24. So we'll probably find a truck stop out there. Won't stop in Colorado Springs. We should have time to get out a little bit. So that next town over. We'll see how bad I calculated if I was just flying by the seat of my pants here, as far as drive time goes. So I think we'll be able to get to Limon here on the 24. And that's where we'll call it a night. Get our 10-hour sleeper period in. 77 miles, yeah, we should be good. Alright, here we are, gonna pull into this truck stop for the night in Limon, I believe Colorado still. And that will bring us to about 12 hours work today. We started at 3 a.m. so this is 12 hours off of our 70-hour clock. Let's get parked here and I will finish the log and let you see what that looks like. Alright, so let's take a look at the log today, April 16th, 2019. Got my name there. We did our pre-trip inspection in Clayton, New Mexico from 3:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. We started driving, we got to Cheyenne Mountain Air Force Station, loaded at FedEx, about 2 hours there, took a break, and then we drove another 3 hours to get to Limon, Colorado, and we're going off duty. And you can see, had 2 hours, we could have still gone on our 14-hour duty clock. And we actually had 2 more hours we could have driven. So we could have driven right to the end of that duty clock. But that means today we worked 11 and a half hours. And so we'll now be down to, what would it be, about 37 and a half hours left to work on that 70-hour clock. And you can start doing recaps. And we'll get into that as we go forward. So we did only 333 miles today, a little bit of a short day. But all in all, a good day. We got to see some cool sights. Yeah, we got to see the Air Force Base, and that was kind of interesting going up and down there. Unfortunately, the rain was an issue inside in the tunnel, but it was kind of cool. Take care. Check your pins. I'm Martin Wenzel. Goodbye.